They say the deer from 99 Nights in the Forest is just a cursed beast wandering through the night, but what if behind those antlers lies a human past? Today I'm going to tell you about a theory, the creepiest one, in fact, that's been circulating in the community. The deer from 99 Nights was actually a child who was experimented on so much that he ended up mutating. In 99 Nights in the Forest, the cultists worship the deer. They see it as some kind of guardian, and keeping that detail in mind, some players in the community have rebuilt the lore and uncovered hidden clues, such as notes, mysterious structures, buildings with cages, and strange symbols. The hypothesis I want to explore with you today is that these elements aren't just decorative or there to fill empty space in the map, but are actually essential parts of the experiment that created this game's infamous creature. But first, let's imagine this. Years ago, powerful people, scientists or cult leaders, chose a remote forest to carry out experiments. Children who had gone missing from nearby towns were taken there, kept captive, and subjected to dark procedures. Their goal? To fuse the human with the supernatural essence of the forest, to create a creature that would protect their secrets. One of those children, perhaps the fifth child that some rumors mention, and that I'll talk about in another video, was subjected to painful tests. During those tests, they used stimuli, drugs, rituals, and physical and neurological modifications. Naturally, the child's body began to change. Bones, muscles, the nervous system, basically everything. His mind must have suffered severe fractures, his memory erased, his language lost, leaving behind only a fragment of what he once was. And so the child ceased to exist, and in his place, the deer was born. But how could a child mutate into such an abomination? Here are some possibilities. Extreme brain damage that unleashed primal instincts. It wouldn't be the first time animals have been experimented on to add human traits. That's actually happened in real life, more times than most people would like to admit. For example, during the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States, there were numerous experiments on humans and animals, trying to enhance specific abilities and gain an advantage in war. One of the most twisted among them involved hybrid apes and humans. The idea was to create stronger, more obedient soldiers than ordinary humans. Now imagine this. If experiments like that really happened in real life, it's not hard to believe that within the game's story, a similar attempt to improve a human child could have gone so wrong that it turned him into a wild deer. That would also explain why the cultists worship the creature, but we'll get to that in a moment. What's almost certain is that those cultists might have experimented with genetic alterations and bodily reprogramming, a mystical link with the forest essence that corrupted human matter, and rituals acting as catalysts. The cultists serving as a bridge between science and the arcane. If the deer was ever human, a lot of its behavior starts to make sense. It doesn't always act like a savage beast. There are moments of curiosity. Its relationship with the cultists doesn't seem like mere obedience. It might even have a paternal connection. Some players believe it tries to protect the children it encounters, as if recognizing broken memories. It doesn't act purely out of malice. Some of its actions could be manifestations of a fragmented memory, trying desperately to hold on to fading recollections. But this theory isn't without its questions. If it really was once a child, why are there no traces of humanity left? Why does it attack humans indiscriminately? The community is quite divided, but the most accepted explanations are these. The mutation erased nearly all of its identity, and at times, a forest entity takes full control. Its mind is trapped in a loop of pain, unable to reason or escape. And isn't it curious? Doesn't the deer sometimes seem to act like a lost child? When exploring the map, you find cages. And honestly, that kind of detail can't be a coincidence. Why would anyone have a cage that big in the middle of the forest? You're not trying to trap a grizzly bear, are you? And if you rescue children, the deer behaves oddly, almost confused. Of course, none of this proves the theory, but it shows that it isn't far-fetched. It's actually quite popular among the players who obsess over the lore. Now, imagine a scene never shown in the game, but that could very well exist in its hidden story. A child wakes up tied to a cold table, flickering lights, gloved hands, whispers in an ancient tongue. They inject him, not with medicine, but with living symbols and unknown substances. Shapeless screams, shadows stretching along the walls. When the light returns, the child is gone. Does that sound possible? For many fans of the game's lore, it's more than possible, and only time or future lore reveals from the developers will confirm it. Honestly, adopting this theory changes how we interpret the entire game. Rescuing the children is no longer just a collectible goal. It becomes an attempt to fix a horrible wrong caused by the cultists. The cultists themselves stop being simple fanatics and instead become the direct architects of an inhuman creation. And the game's ending, could it be liberation or a confrontation with what was once human? I don't know, but every day we get a little closer to finding out. If you're going to look for evidence in your own playthroughs, pay attention to this. Buildings shaped like cages or labs, symbols shared between cultists and the deer, cryptic notes about missing children, the deer's strange behavior when it sees a child, and patterns that repeat when you revisit old areas. We may never get official confirmation, but all these pieces fit together a little too well to ignore. This theory turns the deer into more than just a nightmare. It makes him a tragic victim of a heartless and twisted cult. And in that gap between the monstrous and the human lies the real horror. My conclusion, this theory is powerful because it unites the game's aesthetics, behavior, and mystery into a single origin story. It's not absolute, but it's deeply plausible. Maybe the deer isn't the enemy, maybe he's just a victim of what was done to him. Do you think the deer was once a child? Do you have screenshots, notes, or clues from your own game that support or debunk this theory? Share them with me. In the next video, we'll dive into the most talked about theories from the community with your contributions. See you in the next one.